Welcome back, SethBling here, and today it is finally time. There's a new snapshot. 15w31a has been released by Mojang. It is the first snapshot for 1.9, and it has got a lot of new features, so I kind of need to launch into it. There's the end has changed a lot. In fact, what you see here, this main island of the end, is just a small part of what the end now contains. Obviously, it looks a little bit different. The dragon AI has changed. You may have noticed I'm dual wielding and wearing a frickin' dragon head. And there's some weird arrows in my inventory, some other weird items. So I'm going to go over all that in this video, show you what's new in the snapshot. There's quite a few bugs and obviously some balance issues and stuff. But we're going to go over basically everything that I can without making the video too long. So first, let's start off with the dragon. So obviously, this looks a little bit different. The dragon fight's a little bit different. The crystals are kind of the same as they were before, except some of them spawn in these cages, so you can't just shoot them. So you have to actually, like, you can come in from the top. Actually, even then, the arrow isn't going to go through. Boom. Okay. So you do have to, like, for some of these, you can't just shoot them from the ground. You have to actually tower up and get in there. I've read that as you destroy more of the crystals, the dragon gets more defensive. So there's like sort of AI changes as you destroy more of the crystals. But of course these crystals heal the dragon. You want to kill them all before trying to destroy the dragon. And you can also kind of start to see those special arrows that I have. I'm shooting some arrows of harming, but I'll go over that more later. Okay, so I've destroyed all the crystals here. Now the dragon has a bit of a different AI, sort of. You can see sometimes she hovers over the portal in the middle and, ooh, shoots some dragon breath. As you can see, I'm getting hurt by that. And so she kind of like stays there and defends the portal and kind of sticks around. Also, she's staying here a long time right now. She'll shoot fireballs sometimes. That's a new thing too. So there's dragon breath and fireballs are her kind of her new weapons, aside from just charging at the player. We'll see if we can get one of those fireballs to spawn before I actually go ahead and kill her. I heard one, but I don't see it. It's basically the same fireball that a ghast shoots at you when the ghast does that. And you can actually like reflect it too by shooting it with an arrow or punching it. Yeah, I've heard a couple. Oh, there we go. Wow, it was invisible, I guess. I just barely killed it before it got to me. Okay, well I've gotten in my inventory. I've got this bow with power level 255, so I'm just gonna try and kill the dragon here, just so I can demonstrate some other stuff about the end. When you do kill the dragon, yeah, it deals a lot of damage, huh? When you do kill the dragon, you get the same effect as normal, same animation. I'm gonna go into creative mode for the rest of the video here. Hopefully it's not going to bug out and the portal will actually spawn. Okay, so the portal did spawn. Kind of sunk into the ground. I don't think it was above the ground. That's interesting. So we get all the normal experience and everything. Now, in the future, there's going to be a way to respawn the dragon. Currently, you can do it by... here, if you grab some clay, you can just build like a creeper face. I was live streaming and actually I'm currently live streaming as I record this video, and this wasn't working and I thought my stream was trolling me, but no, this is actually how you do it. Currently this is just like a debug feature for now. You can actually respawn the dragon, but it doesn't behave quite the same. What is going on over here? It just like overwrote my... It's still a little bit buggy is the point. Anyway, it overwrote my my existing portal, and there's no health bar on the dragon and stuff. Maybe if I killed this dragon it would spawn in a new portal, but anyway, that's not... I don't think that's supposed to happen like that. Okay, over here is a new thing. This is the... I think it's like the end gateway, and how it works is it teleports you to a ring of islands that surrounds the main island here. So if you throw an ender pearl through it, because you can't like walk up to it normally. By the way, it looks super trippy. I love how it looks. It's just like freaking... Anyway, I throw an ender pearl through it, which you can now do in creative mode, by the way. That's a bug they fixed. There's kind of a beacon effect that pops up, and then I think it's loading the new terrain. Yeah, you can... I think it's loading the new terrain right now. Not 100% sure. No, wait. Maybe it's not. What happened? There we go. Okay. Maybe the first time it doesn't work. I don't know. Again, still, it's a little bit buggy. And then we show up in this place, which is just like a bunch of crazy islands. There's all these plants. These are called chorus plants. Now I can just throw a pearl through the gateway again, and it'll teleport me back to the main island. But there is only one gateway. That's only one way back to the main island. So you can't get lost, or else you have no way back. So there's all these islands around, and it's going to take a little bit of time for all of them to load. And these things are called chorus plants, and it looks really cool when you break the bottom block. Pop, 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 pop. They drop chorus fruit when you do that, and so chorus fruit's edible. You can also, if you're in survival mode and you break these flowers, they'll drop chorus flowers, which you can plant on endstone and basically make new trees. And they have an animation for growing. Well, it's not really an animation, but they'll grow block by block, and it actually looks really cool. But yeah, so the chorus fruit you can eat, and in fact you can even eat it in creative mode. And when you do that, let's see, because I have my sword, should work. Okay, what if I go to game mode 0? Okay, maybe you can't do it in creative mode, actually. You teleport around at random like an Enderman, which is kind of cool. You can't really control, as far as I can tell, you can't control where you teleport to. But you can sometimes see the like remnants of the particles. Yeah, you could see them over there. So you can teleport around with those, and they also heal some hunger. And then if you use a chorus fruit in a furnace, you can make purpur blocks. Purpur is kind of a weird name, but you get these purpur blocks. You can make stairs. You can make slabs. Now these are naturally occurring as well in the end, and so to show you, I'm gonna have to go into spectator mode, and we are gonna do some flying around. There's some... Oh, I think we found one already. Yes, that was actually really convenient. So there are these kind of randomly generating dungeons, and this is perfect because it's also got this little ship over here, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's this is perfect to demonstrate the new, I think they're called end cities, but basically there are these dungeons that you go in here. There's these staircases and ladders, and actually let me go into creative mode. Actually, I'll go into survival mode because you may not notice, but we're also looking at new mobs right now. Game mode 0, and these are called Shulkers, and they shoot these projectiles that kind of like track you along the grid. If they hit you, they give you a levitation effect. So I now have levitation for 7 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever. And it deals a little bit of damage, but the main effect is that basically it tosses you way up into the air so that you'll take lethal fall damage when you... yeah, I'm going to go back to creative mode so I don't actually take damage. Another thing you might have noticed is up in the top right corner. Levitation. Up in the top right corner... Oh, I'm not actually floating right now. Oh, because I was flying. It actually shows you your status effects. Effect, SethBling, strength. So, in addition to the display in your inventory menu, it also shows you in the top right corner what status effects you have. So these are the Shulkers, and they kind of behave a little bit like blocks. And in fact, sometimes they attack each other. I think it's because the projectile accidentally takes a path that hits another Shulker, and then they start fighting back and forth. But they do behave kind of like blocks. Like, I can't walk through this guy, and in fact, let me give myself a Shulker on the ground. If I stand on top of him, when he kind of like takes a peek out, I will get moved up. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. It kind of pushed me up a little bit like a piston. So anyway, these Shulkers spawn throughout... I'm already in creative mode. Spawn throughout these end cities, and so these end cities are dungeons. They have loot. Now there were stairs below, but in order to get through this stuff, you just kind of have to like tower up, or you could even intentionally take hits from Shulkers in order to levitate yourself through. Notice at the top here there's another Shulker. So yeah, it's kind of like a little, not that maze-like, but there's these kind of like satellite areas. I think this is designed so that you can throw an ender pearl and hit the little tower thing, or the boat thingy over here. So this was the boat thingy that I was showing you. And oh, by the way, I just have mob spawning turned off. That's why there aren't endermen everywhere. Actually, I could just turn it on. Game roll 2 mob spawning true. Okay, so now there's endermen everywhere. So but yeah, so this boat has some loot in it, and it's got some shulkers in it too. So there's a brewing stand. Whoops, didn't mean to throw. There's a brewing stand. It's already got some instant health potions in it. Let's see, actually downstairs you might have noticed there's a beacon, which is actually a really nice reward for a dungeon like this. Especially, I don't think it's actually that hard to get here without dying. See, it's a free beacon if you want to just come and mine it. And then there's actually some pretty good gear in here, like enchanted diamond gear. Here's an enchanted protection 3 chest plate, pretty sweet. There's also beet root seeds. I'll show you some beets at the end of the video, towards the end of the video. Yeah, so you can get some sweet loot from this stuff. Let's see, there must have been some shulkers around. Yeah, there's a shulker here. They really blend in. You'll also notice there are these rods. What are they called? End rods. And these actually emit light. They have the same light level as torches, and they are naturally occurring within these end cities. They're kind of a different light source, which is pretty cool. You can put them on walls, and I think maybe even ceilings. Yeah, so pretty cool. They're kind of versatile, a little bit nicer than torches, in my opinion. Let's check out some of the other loot from these towers. Let's see if I can find some more loot. Kind of fly through. Yeah, there's like hidden shulker. Yeah, there's like lots of shulkers on the wall here. And so if you you can imagine you're in game mode 0 and you pop up through here, and these guys start attacking you. You actually get the levitation effect, which is actually kind of nice because you really want to get to the top of this thing. It deals a little bit of damage, but if you have diamond armor or whatever, it's not very bad. And so it's actually a pretty easy way to get up to the top of this thing and get to the loot. And then once you're up here, they are still going to keep shooting at you, so you have to find a way not to die. But they'll also start shooting each other like we saw before. So you can see there's actually diamonds in here as loot. Some more diamond tools and stuff. Pretty sweet. I don't know. I'm a big fan of these things. These little dungeons. And they can grow big or small. You can see there's some banners here, which is kind of cool. There is some end stone, which is a new block type. And this whole thing is mostly made out of purpur otherwise. Purpur is such a weird name, but it's purpur. It's purpur blocks, pillars, stairs, and slabs. So that's pretty much these end cities. I think they're really cool. I think they're a great addition, and honestly, I think they're a really easy source of beacons. Much easier, in my opinion, than trying to kill wither skeletons and get them that way. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got to show you for the end. I think I covered everything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into my main world. I actually had to create a new world for this because the Enderdragon here was kind of bugged out and it wouldn't create the portal. Like I said, there's still some residual bugs, and they're actually going to release a snapshot tomorrow, they've said, to fix some of those. So I want to show you some of the other features of the snapshot. That stuff is all just about the end. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about dual wielding. So you can see I have a bow in one hand and a sword in the other. I can actually press F to swap my hands. And so whatever is in your main hand works just like before. It uses your hot bar, but you have this other slot. And if I go into my inventory, you can see, here, actually let me go to game mode 0. If I go to my inventory, now there's this shield slot. Oh, let me move away from the shulker. You can kind of see the projectile tracking. It looks pretty cool. I think it's going to get me. Well, okay. That's not going to kill me. Anyway, so there's a shield slot. So you can manually put items in there, but you can also just press F to put items into that. Now, you can use that for a couple things. One is if you have a bow, it will preferentially take the arrow from that slot of, from your offhand slot. So if you have different types of arrows, which are a new thing, so like I have spectral arrows, or they're called potions of harming, but they're really arrows of harming. But I can switch between which one I want to shoot. Let me actually quickly show you spectral arrows. So if I actually hit myself with this arrow, actually the arrow itself looks really interesting. It's got this weird like epoxy glow. But yeah, so if I go to F5 mode, oh, well, okay. You can see I kind of have an outline. And if I go ahead and shoot the Shulker, did I hit him? No. Yeah, you can see he has an outline. And in fact, even behind other blocks, you can see he's like partially obscured by the portal. He still has the outline. So you can see if you shoot something and give it the spectral effect, it's called glowing is actually the effect. You can actually give yourself effect, SethBling glowing, for like 30 seconds. So you can give a glowing effect, and it has an outline. And it's kind of interesting actually. Has the outline around the arrow too. And the item that I'm using and everything as I switch items. Oh, that's actually even really cool because the outline switches depending on what item I'm using. And so you might actually be able to tell if you're... Oh, that almost killed me. If you have shot somebody with an arrow, a spectral arrow, you might even be able to tell what specific item that they're carrying. So anyway, that's a really neat effect. But anyway, back to the dual wielding stuff. So if the item that you're using has a right-click effect, then right-clicking uses that. But if it doesn't, let me give myself like a shovel. Okay, shovel. Shovels don't have a right-click effect most of the time. So if I put an item in my hotbar that does have a right-click effect, like say crafting table, if you right-click with the crafting table, it'll place it. So if I right-click right now, you'd expect, and with the old behavior, nothing would happen because you can't right-click with a shovel. But if I right-click with this, it'll place the crafting table. So Dinnerbone kind of showed I don't know why I have a torch out because I have these end rods. So let's put the end rod in my offhand, and now like as you're mining with your pickaxe. Okay, this isn't a pickaxe, this is a shovel, but and you can like as you're mining, you can place torches now and then without having to like switch slots or anything. So that's a really cool effect. By the way, there's these little particles that come off this. Kind of interesting. Okay. So that's kind of how dual wielding works. Again, F is the key that you press to swap your current hotbar slot into your offhand. It's really, really useful and pretty cool. Okay, so then potion arrows. Let's just like look at the arrow list in the creative menu. As far as I know, there isn't currently a crafting recipe. I couldn't figure one out. But basically, there's spectral arrow, normal arrow, and then just every potion effect has an arrow. There's also a water bottle arrow. So they also added a splash water bottle. So let me give myself some flint and steel here. And let's light the ground on fire. And this splash water bottle kind of puts it out a little bit. And that's all it does. Like you use it on lava, it doesn't do anything. I tried using it on Endermen, it didn't damage them or anything. I'm not sure what the intended effect was beyond that. I guess you could like, I don't know, for a second on the fire I saw little bits of water. So but I think it only does something if there's like, I think it only does that if there's actually fire present. Kind of interesting. So yeah, those are the potion arrows, and like I said, you can use your offhand slot to determine which arrow you're currently shooting. Spectral arrow, here's a arrow of harming. What's also kind of interesting is there are nice arrows, right? There's arrows of fire resistance. If you hit yourself with an arrow of regeneration, it deals a little bit of damage, but then it gives you a regeneration effect and stuff like that. So kind of interesting. I don't know if people will find good uses for that, but let's see. Here we have a Shulker. This is gonna be really buggy for a second, but I'm gonna put the Shulker into the minecart. And yeah, it's really hard to push around. So this is definitely a bug, and I'm sure it'll get fixed, but I think it stores data about where it is in its tags, and it doesn't get updated by the minecart. In fact, if we eject it from the minecart here, it goes back where it was over there, which is kind of weird. Not really what you'd expect. I think, let's see. Let's get myself another minecart. Let me actually just close and reopen the world and see what happens. Yeah, it is still there. But if you put it in the minecart and then move it over and then close and reopen the world, it actually does update its position. So you can move shulkers around this way. And if I then use the activator rail right here, well, it's kind of bugging out because it's picking it back up after it ejects it. But you can see for a moment it is getting put in the right spot. This is going to be really annoying. I have to kill this guy. Oh, he teleported. All right. Yeah, so another thing you can do is grab a piston and another shulker egg and some redstone. You can push them with pistons. So if I go ahead and do that, you can push them. So you can also move them around that way. If you try and push them into a solid block like this, they'll teleport. So they'll teleport kind of like an Enderman does. I think their max range is 8 blocks for teleporting. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. There's these grass paths, and to make these, let me grab a shovel again. You just right-click on grass, and it turns into these. They're kind of like 15/16ths, or they're 1/16th less tall than a normal block. Although you don't like sink into the ground when you're standing on them like you do with, say, soul sand. So it's just a graphical effect, but kind of cool for making paths out of, you know, your grassy areas. And it does use up durability on the shovel. I'm in creative mode, so it's obviously not doing that right now. But pretty cool. If you use Silk Touch on these, it just drops dirt. Tried that out too. Let's see. There's beets over here. These now spawn. The beet seeds will sometimes spawn in the end cities. So that's one place you can get them. I think they also spawn in villages naturally, just like any other crop. But beets basically grow like any other plant. They look very similar and everything. Let's grab some bone meal. Yeah, they're basically like any other plant. If you eat a beet, here's what the beet roots look like. They heal half a hunger bar, and you can make beetroot soup out of 6 beets in a bowl, and it heals 3 full hunger bars, which is, in my opinion, kind of crappy in terms of a food, but it is a vegetarian option. So there you go. So that's the new type of crop that you can make. And then I think the last thing that I have to show here is the Enderdragon head, which you can place on the floor and on the walls just like any other head, which is pretty cool. And kind of the cool feature with these, if you want to call it that, excuse me, if you want to call it that, if you power it with redstone, it does this. Pretty sweet in my opinion. All right, it's been kind of a long video. I think I showed most of the important features of the new snapshot. If you want to see the full changelog, I've linked in the video description to a Reddit thread that has basically every single change. And then I've also linked to the blog post where you can download the snapshots. Well, I guess you download the snapshot through the launcher now, so never mind. But the blog post kind of gives some official information about the snapshot. I'm really excited that they're finally putting out snapshots again. It's been way too long. It's been the better part of a year since the last snapshot for 1.8. So I'm really excited to see the snapshots come rolling again. I hope that they are putting them out with high frequency. I'm sure we'll see a lot more changes. It's called the combat update, and so far there's not too many combat-oriented changes. I mean, there's the new dungeons, the new Enderdragon fight, and the new arrows, but I'm sure we'll see some changes to close combat as well. So I'm really excited to see all that stuff. Anyway, that'll do it for the Minecraft 15w31a snapshot overview. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Oh, one little thing that I did miss, and so we're going to go over that now, is skeletons have a slight change to their AI. So here's a skeleton. Let me go to game mode 0 so that he sees me and attacks me. Oh, no. All right, let me heal up a little bit. So heal. Okay, so the skeleton now. Well, it's not really a change. I think it's a slight change to the AI, but it also is a big change to the graphical effects of the skeleton. You can see you can see him tracking me and pointing the arrow at me, and so as long as he's tracking me, as soon as I come around the corner, he's going to shoot me, which is kind of like what a human will do. But if it goes too long without being able to see me, and he can't actually really see me through glass, then he drops his aim. So it's pretty cool. It's just a little graphical effect that lets you know what the skeleton is thinking, because it's historically just been impossible to really tell what's going to happen with it if you encounter a skeleton. I think they still have different draw lengths in terms of duration, like amount of time, but as you get closer, I think they draw shorter. Maybe not actually. So it is anyway. It's a new updated AI, so it's pretty cool. I think it's a big step forward. Anyway, okay, that'll actually do it for this video. Thanks for watching.